So what I had to do was like face verify with Google. Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to Linux Weekly Daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source, anything else that just catches our eyes. I'm Vin, that's Jill, and we were just having a little bit of fun in the pre-show. Stick around, we do that. If you get a chance, check us out live. We're on Twitch, usually on YouTube, wherever I didn't feel like setting up the YouTube thing. We had to talk about that at the beginning of the stream. I'm like, man, YouTube, you got to simplify that. Like, just click that button, get that barrier of friction down just a little bit. Plenty of stuff to talk about this week. But, Jill, what have you been up to? You were talking about in the pre-show fixing a sink, right?
Yeah, we had to have a new vanity put in because we had a leak, and it made things not so cool. A bit of mildew and maybe a little bit of mold started growing, and we had to take care of it pretty quickly. But the sink itself was beautiful, and the leak, you'd never believe this, Van, the leak had nothing to do with the pipes. It was the faucet
leaking out of spite.
It was the faucet that had deteriorated, and water had gotten under there, and like
just kind of dripped under there and eaten away at
yeah. So that's why we didn't notice it for so long, because it didn't
like
hard
Ghost.
to make any noise.
It really does sound like Ghost.
Yeah. So we got that fixed, and we got lots of little things fixed. We got the toilet fixed as well, and we have other bathrooms that are going to be worked on soon. So I'm really happy getting stuff done.
That's always it's a really bad thing. If you got like a leak, or it's always in the back of your mind. Yeah. Always. You're like, they're leaking the entire time. You know it. So it's good to have fixed.
I know. Yes.
CES is wrapped up though.
Yeah, so that's been a lot of fun because was a lot of good products this year at CES. Some real new stuff, not evolutionary, but or revolutionary, but important nonetheless.
We didn't see any flying heat sinks with lasers.
No.
Oh, man.
And of course, lots of the usual AI. But there was a lot of work being done on laptops and new designs for laptops that I talked about last week. That was so cool. And lots of new changes in computer parts. So that was awesome. Like for having connectors on the back of the motherboard, it's finally going to exist. Both MSI and ASUS are already starting to put out cases of motherboards.
Sticks,
Yeah.
I mean, we basically have been building the same PC for 30 plus years.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
And something a little bit new to play around with. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. What I don't look forward to is that weird transition period.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be like adapter case, because, new power supply, different case and motherboards and compatibility. Then once it gets settled out, it's going to be real fun. But until then, let's not worry about it. But it's always exciting.
Yes.
To have something new to play with. Couple of things I've been playing around with. If you do follow Doctor Who and sci-fi, you might know my co-host from Saturday, Jordan Swang. We've been doing a sci-fi podcast, probably 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're really bad about promoting it because we're not very good at promoting. Imagine there's a connection there. It used to be called Game of Who.
Yeah.
And, it was a Game of Thrones and Doctor Who podcast. Now it's called Wizards and S, the lead.
I love that.
It's got a great little mascot and all that. But it's not overproduced, but it's well produced. It's something me and Jordan stick together and we put it up for patrons. I'll probably put the back catalog someplace where I don't have to host it, like Spotify or, whoever I can upload it to. But we did a new episode because we wanted to do a recap. Because neither Jordan and I were terribly excited about Doctor Who returning. Jodie started. We watched like the first 2 series of like Jodie as the Doctor, and it was like, it's all right, and then we just kind of fell off. But we weren't alone. A lot of people fell off, and and it was really rough because Jodie got hit with the same thing Capaldi did. Just really bad writing. Like it wasn't interesting, and we were curious, like how. Neither of us thought we were going to be going back and like watching a Doctor Who podcast. And because like previously we did a what was Rings of Power and something else was our last series. It's usually like two shows stacked together. But anyway, we both saw that trailer with David Tennant in it, and we're like, okay, now we got to go find it. So it's our recap of the 3 specials and the first episode with our new doctor that we're both kind of excited about. And it's discussion on like, how did we get to this point? Do we think we're going to keep watching? What's it going to take to keep us interested? And I'll probably have that out for patrons. No, I was going to say Tuesday. I'm like, it's Wednesday, then can't lie anymore. Dang it. You believe me when I said that on Saturday? Maybe by Friday. I just got to sit down and edit it and get it packaged up and pushed out. But that's not the only thing I've been working on. YouTube has gotten hard. I set up a new YouTube channel, everybody. Behold,
Beautiful.
Interfacing Linux. It is, I spent longer getting everything authorized, Jill Bryant, than I did setting up. It's got a whopping 1 video. Behold, yet again. Something, this is just like, I just had to put a video up on it. Oh, if you don't know, Interfacing Linux is going to be covering content creation, all the stuff that you need for that, audio, video, capture cards, video cards, audio interfaces, everything that you might need to plug into a Linux powered system and how that's going to work. I was really surprised because I put this in video. The first video I did, we'll be talking about that in a minute, up last night. Just to have something up there. And yesterday it got 4 views, Jill.
Oh,
I was happy. I was like, awesome. Apparently,
you'll get a lot more real soon. That's going to take off.
It was posted somewhere. And between getting up and running and coming back home, it went from like 4 to 137. But this isn't supposed to be a popular video because most people, what I wanted to, I'll get into why I made the video, but there it is. Can I post a link to it? How do we post a link to our YouTube channel? Huh?
Well, you mean in Discord or? Oh, you know how to do that.
That's like the squirrely name. I think it's at Interfacing Linux.
Yeah.
See, I have a legacy. Like Linux Gamecast is old school. It's just YouTube/Linux Gamecast.
Yeah, but you got
to work up to this stuff, and that's what I wanted to touch on because the last time I set up a YouTube channel was 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Things have changed. You just logged in, you did your thing, and you're like, hey, here's your YouTube channel. You couldn't do much with it back then.
Yeah, I know there's a share icon on the front page somewhere where you can
I've already
share.
posted it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Moving on with that, but I was like, okay, man.
There it is.
Yeah. And so I got all that set up. I'm like, I'll make a new YouTube channel. Let's go. And I clicked on it, and then I was like, let's just create a new Gmail account. And Google's like, give me your phone number. I'm like, all right, you know my Gmail number. It's like, no. I said your phone number. I'm like, man, I don't even know my phone number, Google. Get out of here with that nonsense. So I just set it up on one of my brand accounts for Linux Gamecast. Because if you remember the psychotic episode of Google Plus giving everyone a YouTube account?
Yes. Yeah.
All of your every Gmail account you had ended up with like YouTube accounts, and they eventually, after they started winding down Google Plus, gave you a way to consolidate it. So I have just a fistful of YouTube accounts that I can just turn into anything. So I turned to one of those into Interfacing Linux, and I get everything uploaded, and I'm like, all right, we're good, whatever. I'll get that published. Then I went to post a link, like here's the link to the written guide. And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, oh, what? Google's like, we got to verify, make sure you're real, man. Like,
yeah.
I thought we've already established.
Harder now.
We've established that, Google. And Google's like, nah, man, I don't trust him. I'm like, okay. This account's like, the core account is from like 2002. So, okay. What do you want me to do? It's like, send me some identification. And I was going to do it like I did with PayPal. Because I have a PayPal business account that I've had since the early 2000s, and just like whatever and they're like, we need to verify. I hooked them up. I gave them all 3 of my passports. I'm like, let's go. And I was like, I don't feel like doing that. So what I had to do was like face verify with Google. I had to click a link on my mobile, and I had to do a dance with my mobile.
Jeez.
It's like, look at it. Look, I did it in here because I just grabbed the tablet that was right over here, and I'm like, boop, and I held it up. Linus got me in trouble, Jill.
Uh-oh.
because it said, there's somebody behind you. You got to be the only person in the picture.
Oh,
I'm like,
okay.
oh, come on, man. And so I had to do over here where Linus wasn't over
Face
my shoulder.
detection.
And it's like, turn to the left. And I'm like, all right, look straight. I'm like, done. And it's like, you look straight too quick. I'm like, come on, man. So I had to like 2 or 3 times and we finally got it. I had to wait a couple hours, then it got verified. So anyway,
Wow.
interfacing Linux, I put my face in it.
Yeah, you did. That's for sure.
Click on it. There'll be a link in the podcast show type, down in the descriptions wherever you're listening to this. Go check it out. Subscribe to it if you want. It's like I said, it's going to be all the stuff that's not gaming related.
Yeah.
And also got some mail.
Yay, good.
Over on the forums, this is going to be an ongoing thread that 2 things that I picked up showed up in the mail because I'm trying to get something. And I got a Fire Studio mobile. This is all going to include Pipewire in 2024 on top of everything else. Then I got whatever this is.
Oh, neat. That looks
which
cool.
is a Tascam, whatever that is. It's got a wheel on it. It's got some buttons. It's also an audio interface.
Oh.
And I have no idea. It just showed up. I think I paid like 99p for it. Oh, yeah, stay tuned. Also, I think tomorrow or Friday, I got more stuff coming in too, man.
That's
I got
cool,
like a vintage thing. I got a new USB capture card that I'm excited about. I'm going to be very excited to show everybody about. We're going to test how Linuxy compatibility it is. That'll be fun. Interfacinglinux.com. And don't worry, kids. I'm going to plug that site again before this show's over. Saved you the comment. Now,
Yeah.
Jill, let's talk about something that did show up at CES, right?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a piece of hardware demonstrated at the Micron booth that can make laptops more easily upgraded once again. And this isn't some, high in the sky future thinking of tech. It's already here. So Micron showed off their new Crucial branded LP CAM2 memory modules. The CAM2, or compressed attached memory module, has recently been finalized by Samsung in September of 2023. So several vendors have created and showcased them. And what's cool is the compression attached memory module doesn't insert into a standard SODIMM slot like a traditional RAM in a laptop. According to Andrew Cunningham over at Ars Technica, he says it lies flat against the board where metal contacts on the board and the CAM module can make contact with one another. So we can still have our thin and light and upgrade it. Oh, no, you have to buy a framework to do all the things. Framework laptop.
Maybe we'll see this in frameworks.
Yeah, absolutely.
And companies like frameworks because, like I said, optimism, your Dells, your HPs, and all that.
Yeah.
They want to solder it on. They want to do what they've been doing for 20 years, follow Apple. All right. Out with the new, in with the old. Team Green.
Yeah.
Yeah, we love it. We love it.
Yes, we
Linux and NVIDIA users, we can't. Oh, boy. Isn't that right, Linus? Yeah, Linus loves it, too. He's got people.
Yes. He certainly shows his, shall I say, his expression towards it.
Oh, here is me with my collection of NVIDIA cards. That I have for my opening shot, and that's not all of them. That's just the ones that were in the tech closet here in the studio, like going all the way back to the GeoForce series where you had good box art.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided to sit down and make a guide. This all started because a common question. Now, I did this kind of in the theme of the choose your own adventure game. As you might see, you're going to die, an NVIDIA GeForce adventure. Because it is a bit of a kaleidoscope of nightmares for the average user. But this, 22 years ago, I bought my first NVIDIA GPU. I had to look it up, and, I counted the rings and the boxes. And before that, I was rocking the 3DFX, going all the way back to that original Voodoo 1. Why? Because that 3DFX had proper desktop Linux support, and I was accustomed to having a fully functional desktop with hardware acceleration back in the 90s, man. And well, we all know 3DFX went under, and the only option really was ATI, and that kind of continued to be an absolute dumpster fire. all the way up, and even after AMD bought them for quite some time. Now, unfortunately, that meant that I just had to work with NVIDIA. And, in 2024, NVIDIA still has solid Linux support, but only if you know your way around the driver stack. And I didn't realize just how much of a curveball it would throw a new user until I started writing this guide out, which I just started originally to write for how to get it up and running with a real-time kernel, because that's a question I've been getting for a long time. And so I started making this guide, and I decided to just expand it into a serious choose your own adventure game featuring CUDA and apt. So we got installing, uninstalling, upgrading. It's all here. And it even has a step 0. It has a step 0 that at the end of the video, it reminds you. I'm just kind of scrolling through the page here. We got plenty of screenshots, kind of walk you through it. There it is. Proof that you can run the proprietary NVIDIA latest drivers with a full RT kernel if you dare so choose. But step 0 is right here at the top. Right here at the top. Skip it at your own peril if you're running Debian, because you will. And at the end of the video, it tells you, did you hose your system? Go back and do step 0. Now, why is this important? Now, and I got a couple of common scenarios that you might run into. You got a fresh Debian install. Let's just use that. Maybe you need to upgrade CUDA. Maybe you're running Debian stable and you want to upgrade the NVIDIA drivers. Oh, there's no PPA. Let's install it with a run file. It's pretty simple. Or maybe, you want to just upgrade CUDA. Oh, okay. Turns out NVIDIA's got its own repo for Debian. You can add it, how to upgrade that, and more importantly, how to uninstall everything properly, because this is not Windows. You will jack your system up. Now, the goal here, why I wanted to write all this out, is just to have it there. Because what is I call it Windows-like behavior. Oh, I broke a thing. What do I do? Nuke and pave.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this isn't working. How do I fix that? Uninstall, reinstall. No. Don't waste all that time. Now, if you've messed up your NVIDIA install, learn how to do this. This is why, you know what? Be the change. Let's write it all out. You can walk your way through this and go, oh, okay. You can piece together any common scenario. And one of the next videos I'm going to be working on is, because we talk about Wine and Proton and gaming all the time, don't we? Hey, Steam Deck, we're playing games on our Linux boxes, and it's a great technology. You can also apply that same technology to run audio plugins under Linux from Windows. I'll show you how to do that. Not quite as simple, but it works really good, and we're using it right now. But the reason I'm bringing up Wine, everybody, 9.0 is here, and wow, not just regular WoW, 64 WoW is finally shipping. It's going to cut back on your need for that multi-lib install. We're chipping away at it. Those 32-bit compatibility libs slowly dying, kicking and screaming the entire time. Now, granted, it's not enabled by default, unfortunately. That's because there's a couple issues still to be worked out. There's no 16-bit support for the 7 of you who require that, but I feel you. And there is reduced OpenGL performance. On top of that, though, just to keep things more interesting, experimental Wayland driver is shipping with Wine 9.0. And they're really clear to point this out. Hey, this is going to be a work in progress, but it technically functions. It falls into that category of makes with the working. And it still manages to pack a Vulkan bit of support into the package, which is also, and they got some other stuff for ARM64 and stuff, right?
Yeah, really cool. And it's actually one of the. It seems simple, but it's actually really important. Now the new prefixes default to the newer Windows 10, which is really nice. You remember, Ven, for years and years, Wine was defaulting to Windows 98 and then NT for
XP.
XP, yeah, I know. So I was really happy to hear that they've come up in the world in support of a modern Windows operating system, and also Direct Show, WMV video decoder, and MPEG-1 video decoder filters have been implemented, which is really awesome. So I'm hoping that means we'll get a little bit more with your GPU, a little bit more hardware acceleration support with those formats, hopefully. And also, one of the best changes that shows how much Wine has grown, there is now support for a dark theming option in the Windows runtime. Yay! We all celebrate that. That's cool. But this is a great and huge wine release. This is awesome.
Oh, this is a big chunky one. Like dark mode is. I've done some hacking around in Wine and Windows because one piece of software I occasionally have to crack open is Winbox, which is not what you think it is. It's the application used to control these big chunky MikroTik routers and switches.
Yeah.
It's like the Windows GUI. And I mean, it's old school looking GUI. Like if you looked at, if I'd handed that to like Windows 3.11, somebody back in the day, be like, yeah, I get this. It's kind of like that, but it's all just like blistering white, you know?
Yes.
That interface would make mayonnaise blush. It is horrible. And I've had to, like, I did some hacking in it to make it dark mode just so I could see it. So I'm glad to see some options like that if I can flip things around.
Absolutely.
Wine has come such a long way. Up next, though, is our on-again, off-again relationship with Raspberry Pi availability.
Yes. So the good news is the Raspberry Pi 5 is actually available for sale by some U.S. distributors, including Canakit. Yesterday I checked, and Canakit had still quite a few available. And they are, Raspberry Pi is still back ordered or out of stock from SparkFun, Pi Shop, and at my local Micro Center in Tustin, which has them on and off occasionally. But there's some really great news coming very soon. The Raspberry Pi shortages are soon coming to an end. Thank God. So how long have we been talking about this? And there are 70,000 Pi 5s currently being manufactured in a week. And the Raspberry Pi Limited is planning to manufacture 90,000 Raspberry Pis per week in the near future. And it's estimated around February sometime. And the Raspberry Pi CEO, Eben Upton, promised that they would maintain this manufacturing pace until, he states, backlogs are fulfilled and the channel, approved resellers and others, is in a good stock position. Wonderful. So now everyone will be able to get Raspberry Pis 5 soon.
It is. One thing I would have really liked, now I want to maybe get a point. I think all of this information, tomshardware.com, came out of Jeff Gerling's video.
Oh, yeah.
Which I don't see a link to, tomshardware.com.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe think about dropping that in there because everybody who read this knows where you got your information, tomshardware.com. Think about that, please. Cite your sources. On the Pi thing, though, breaking, founder of Raspberry Pi informs public he likes money, so he's going to make more Raspberry Pis to sell to you.
Yeah.
Yes. What I'd really like to see, though, all jokes aside, is some clarification on, okay, you're going to make, how many was it? Starting out with like 70,000 units, ramping up to 80. Where's that allocation going and what's going to be the split? Because I'm with Jill. I'm super excited about 70,000 Raspberry Pi 5s. Super excited. However, I'm slightly less excited if 69,912 of them are going to businesses and companies.
Yeah. And not to Micro Center
not to me.
In your
hands.
hands.
My hands, right.
Yeah.
Just rub them on me. Good news for everybody who's sitting around waiting on one, though, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Beautiful people. Want to give a shout out. If you like what we do, linuxgamecast.com/support. We got a bunch of different ways you can kick some cash into our face, but we want to give you something back because we're about to go into the after show. That's going to be a little bit extra content each and every week in podcast format, if that's where you're listening, because most of you are. You get access to our show notes, access to our Discord, stuff I'm working on, behind the scenes bits, just to sweeten things up. We got Amazon wish list. We got a store. We got an Amazon storefront. If you're curious about everything in the studio, go click on that link. You can buy it anywhere you want, man, but everything's itemized. And of course, a humble affiliate. But this week, I want to thank a returning patron, Juan Haplo.
Yay, Haplo. I'm so happy
saw
he's
Haplo
back.
pop back into Discord. Haplo was like, boom, kick the door in, drop some stuff on the floor. It's like, I'm back, deal with it. And I'm like, that's cool with me, man.
Yay.
Also, on the side of Twitch, I want to thank Don, Basil, and Optiplex for Twitch resubs as
Yes.
well. But we're running a little bit long. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for episode 408. It's been fun.
Yeah.
And let's roll
Now we
them
get
credits.
to thank all our beautiful patrons, our advisors, Artherin, Omegas, our executive producers, Barbrant Scottam, Atomic Mike G, drummer, Chicago Kicks People, Super Dust Out Empty, Blasphemia, our Sea Monsters, Truggy, Bertanuda, Justin, Hakeem, our Death Notes, M. Foxdog, Piper, Dodger, and our wonderful chairlings, which now the font has gotten too small and I can't read them. We got so many. That's awesome. You can't read them all.
Decrease the font size by 1px every week.
Oh, boy.
Probably I don't do that.
Yeah. No.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone. Love you all. And everyone in chat as well on Discord and on YouTube and on Twitch.
What about Odyssey? You don't love Odyssey, people, Jill?
Oh, yeah.
That's a shame.
Odyssey.
Jill does not love you. Bye-bye.